let's jump into our next interview. This was an exciting one because never before have we had opponents on the same episode. So now you don't got to wait till next week to hear the opponent stand. You get to hear it right now. So check this out. Big Kansas, Daniel Gallemore. All right, guys, we just had his opponent on, and now we'll hear from him, Daniel Big Kansas Gallemore, who is going to be fighting coming up December 23rd. It's going to be on UFC Fight Pass for Victory FC 55. The champ is here. How are you doing today, Daniel?
Doing pretty good. That's actually pronounced Gallemore, by the way.
Gallemore. All right. Yeah, it's crazy. You learn so many different last names in this sport. I love it.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure people from around the world. Different pronunciations of the same name, too, I'm sure.
Especially when you have a champion named Joanna Young Zajac, and, you know.
Yeah.
All right, so how did you get into the sport of mixed martial arts?
I grew up in a really small town, and like boys being boys, we just used to fight a lot. It was more fun. It wasn't like malicious intent or anything. You know, it was just like Ninja Turtles and Van Damme and WWF and whatnot like that. I mean, I lost baby teeth fighting, so it was kind of a normal thing, I guess. And then I was working on the road doing cell phone towers, and I found out I was going to be a dad. So I ex-nayed that job because at the time it was the most dangerous job per capita in America. So when I started coming back home, like I was home more, I started going to the gym a lot more, and I saw a guy that I knew from high school, and he was a coach. And he was like, "You should come check it out." So I did, and then it kind of took off from there.
So you said that you lost your baby teeth to fighting. I've never heard a fighter say that. You might be the first.
Yeah, I think I lost 2 or 3 of my baby teeth at recess when I was in elementary school.
Well, if you're like me, man, I always ended up in timeout, and I would just be like playing around, and my friends would be like, "You're too rough, man." Were you a bruiser when you were a young kid?
Yeah, I think it was just like, I don't know, that there was a town of 500 people, so it was pretty common.
And as I was, looking at, some of your stats, I realized that you were born on Flag Day, man. And a lot of my listeners have no idea what I'm talking about. Only reason I know what Flag Day is because I am also born on June 14th. So,
Nice.
So what was that like, man? Every year you're about to get out of school and your birthday's in June. Do you enjoy the summer? Or are you a winter guy?
No, I definitely enjoyed the summer. I mean, that was summer vacation. I like the winter too, though. You know, when I grew up, like I said, it was a small town, so winter time was like, snowball fights, and we went hunting and stuff like that. That's usually, fall, winter, and spring. And then summertime is swimming in the lake and that kind of stuff. The longer days are nice, though, for sure, to get more stuff done.
I love
working
living.
with a 16-hour day.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man, I love living on the East Coast because you get to see all the seasons change. Claudia Gadella just experienced her first snowfall. Really exciting when you get to see the winter come in. But my question to you, man, is you're also an undefeated boxer. Did you start that before mixed martial arts, or did you jump into American Jiu-Jitsu first?
No. I was actually asked to take a boxing fight, and the guy was a friend of mine, and I knew the opponent pretty well too. I'd sparred his brother. I might have sparred him. I don't remember. And I really honestly didn't care about my boxing record, but I don't remember how much it was. It was, $700, $800, something like that. And I was like, yeah, it was almost Christmas time. I was like, yeah, I really don't care about my boxing record. Like, yeah, I'll do it, even if I lose. So what? That's a significant increase in my Christmas funds right now. So I went ahead and did it, and I ended up winning the fight. I don't want to say supposed to lose that fight, but I was on paper, I was not going to win that fight. But the opponent was a little shorter than I was, so I worked a jab like crazy, man, and ended up coming off with a decision win the first time I ever boxed. I was a pro already, so I couldn't go as amateur, but I never had any amateur boxing or anything like that.
And as you just heard, we just had your opponent Derek on, who actually says that you guys are familiar with one another. How did you meet him?
Man, we've been in the same circles for years and years. He's got a school in Kansas City, and most of my training stuff is about an hour and a half west of there. So being, 2 big heavyweights, like, we never fought as amateurs, but we were always at the same shows at the same time and we were there with, people we were coaching or teammates or whatever, and the other person would fight. Or, I mean, I've seen him fight live, and he's seen me fight live. It's just the same general area, being heavyweights and whatnot, and that close of an area, everybody gets to know everybody that's in the fight scene.
So, which is actually kind of weird, and we see this a lot. We just saw it this season on Ultimate Fighter. We saw it this year with, Big Country Roy Nelson knocking out his buddy Bigfoot, and he didn't want to finish him. He was like, he's already knocked out. Is it going to be weird fighting somebody that you're familiar with, somebody that you know, or have you done it before in the past?
I did before. It's not the best circumstance, I guess. I mean, but it is business. Like I won't have any hard feelings either way unless he does something really dirty, which I don't think he ever would. But it is different, man. Like if you fight somebody, there's like gray area stuff. Like John Jones has his oblique kick. There's foot stomps and there's stuff like that. It is legal, but you really shouldn't do it. Like it's a dick move. So I think that's the biggest difference for me between fighting somebody that I know and like, rather than finding somebody I don't know that I don't like. Like I'm not gonna feel bad about an oblique kick or about stomping on your foot until it breaks if I don't know you and I don't care about you. Now if it's somebody that I know and respect, have a rapport with, and it's gonna be a little different. I'm not gonna try and injure you per se, but at the end of the day, it's all legal and it is business.
Exactly. So I see that you fought for Bellator from 2014, 2015. Were you expecting to be in Bellator, or was it like, we have a fight open, would you like to come over?
My first fight was kind of like that because I fought once for Bellator, and it wasn't. I mean, I won, but it wasn't a very impressive performance. I was fighting a pretty good grappler, so as soon as we went to the ground, I just stalled, man. I stalled until we stood back up, and I chopped the leg out and let the hands go. So I won the fight, but I think the stalling was kind of lackluster. Nobody really wants to see that, and it was my debut, so it wasn't like they needed me for anything. Then a couple of years passed, and I'm a decent ticket seller back home. So I think, Bellator tries to get people on undercard that are moving tickets. I think that was kind of what got me the call back. And then that I had fought for him already previously. I showed up, I made weight, I wasn't late, there wasn't any problems, like no conflicts or anything. I was a low maintenance fighter, I guess. So I think that helped. But I'm honestly, I don't remember exactly how I got the call back to come and fight for him again, because there was a pretty good time lapse in between the first time I fought for him and the second time I fought for him.
And now that you're champion, man, if you defend the belt on December 23rd, what are you looking to do in 2017? Are you going to try to defend the belt more or move up?
I'm thinking, I don't know how much I can say, but I'll probably defend it once or twice more and then go from there. Man, with my record in boxing though too, I'm knocking on doors there that are decent pay as well. Especially being a heavyweight, there's just not a whole lot of marketable heavyweights out there.
Derek was saying the same thing, man. He was like, I watch UFC and I'm like, I can get in there and feel like I can beat some of these guys. Are you one of the fighters that likes watching, UFC or Bellator or World Series of Fighting? Do you like watching some of the events they put on?
Yeah, man, it's homework. I mean, that person is more successful at the sport than you are if they're on TV making that much more money. So you gotta cue in and pay attention to why that is. I mean, I've sparred with guys in the UFC and stuff, and I've definitely held my own. So I watch it as support for teammates and friends, and then I watch it as homework too. Certain people move certain ways, like different footwork or different angles and everything else, and then even how they promote themselves, like Connor. Connor's a marketing genius, and taking pages out of those people's books is what's going to help you advance and move further in the sport, I think.
Oh man, speaking of Conor McGregor, the original OG Muhammad Ali, who we watched pass away this year, unfortunately. What role did he play in your life? Were you a big fan of Muhammad Ali growing up?
I wasn't really, man. We were small town. I mean, nothing, nobody's. We were pretty poor when I was raised. We had cable and stuff, but it wasn't a big thing. Like I was usually outside playing wherever, going fishing or something like that. I wasn't behind the TV all the time. I mean, I remember when like gaming consoles came out, I played games, but then I would beat a game and then that was it. Like I would go outside and play or find something else to do until I had the money or got a gift or something for the next game.
Yeah. Well,
I just didn't. I wasn't zoomed into a lot of sports and TV and stuff. I was kind of a nerdy kid.
Well, growing up in the era in the 80s, it was an exciting time, and to see how the world of fighting has evolved with us. What is some of the biggest changes that you've seen since you started fighting till today?
Rounded fighters. When in the late '90s, I'd say even up to the late '90s, you had karate guys and you had taekwondo guys and you had jiu-jitsu guys and you had wrestlers and you had all this stuff. And now it's starting to be like you have mixed martial artists. You don't have, they're not great at any one thing. They're really good at all of it.
Yeah,
I think the fighters are evolving and becoming more rounded, and more greater athletes are getting into the sport too. Those people, they probably would have done a different sport or no sport at all had it not been for the publicity and the attention and stuff that MMA is starting to get, and the legitimacy, I guess, the recognition that it gets. So I think a lot of top-notch athletes are getting. John Jones, he's got 2 brothers in the NFL.
Yeah.
Why didn't he follow those footsteps? It pays a lot better. So I just see it opening up more to that.
You make a good point, man, and we've seen it before in the past with boxers thinking that they can fight in MMA or vice versa. And this year we saw CM Punk, who is a wrestler, not really an athlete, so to say. But do you think if somebody from the NFL or NBA, do you think they would have a good chance because they're athletes in fighting, or no, not really? It's something you really got to start at a younger age.
Man, it's all wiring. Like even Brock Lesnar, there's some guys out there that he's an excellent wrestler, he's an awesome wrestler, but he doesn't like getting hit.
Yeah.
Like the fighter flee switch, that's different on a lot of people. And if you flee, then it's not the sport for you. No matter what you are, how good of an athlete you are, if you get hit and you flee, you're not gonna do that well. Like somebody's gonna catch you and expose you, and somebody else is gonna continue to do that. I think like for Lesnar, for example, I think Carwin kind of exposed him, and then Kane took pages out of Carwin's book and won.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar, man, on his 4th fight, he became champion, but the first fight against Frank Mir, we definitely saw him get exposed a couple of times, but we did see that. You're totally right. But now there's talk with Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather. I'm sure that you've heard this. How do you think that would go, Conor going over there to fight? Do you think he'd do good as an MMA guy boxing?
No. I think he would get a huge paycheck, and I can't be mad at him for that. Yeah. And I think it would get a god-awful amount of attention. And Conor's left hand is in a league of its own. I mean, I will say that, but Mayweather is just so elusive. And I mean, I don't like watching him. I'm not a Mayweather fan, but you can't beat the guy. Like he's so fast. He moves out of the way. Like he's got I don't know what it would be, the stuff you can't teach. Like he sees it, everything, he catches it. I mean, he beat Pac-Man. He beat Pac-Man. That fight was late, but I don't see anybody beating Mayweather if Mayweather came in healthy. I mean, there's always injuries and stuff like that, but if Mayweather came in healthy, I don't know that there's anybody out there right now that would beat him. And if there is anybody, I really, really don't think it's going to be anybody making their boxing debut.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it would be a good payout.
It's crazy. Yeah, it would be a huge payout, I'm sure. And I'm sure that's where the hang-up is too right now, because Conor with the contract with UFC and everything, they're pretty
tight.
Say closed. Yeah, it's a definitely tight ship. They don't let stuff fly or stuff slide, and everything is in the contract. Like, it's very specific, I'm sure. And if it does happen, I'm sure the UFC will get a pretty good chunk.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. So as we get to the end of our interview, what can my listeners and your fans expect December 23rd when you go in there against Derek? What are they going to see?
I think it's kind of a typical striker versus grappler match. He's an excellent jiu-jitsu practitioner. I think our wrestling is pretty close to the same. We're both big guys. I'm pretty sure he's cutting weight. I know I'm starting to cut a little bit of weight. I went the boxing route and he went the jiu-jitsu route, so I just think it would be a kind of a classic striker grappler matchup. We'll have to see how the wrestling pans out. I've been working with Curtis Blades, who's a JUCO national champ, so he's been my partner 3 or 4 days a week. Drills.
Well, we
Just wanna
can't
see-
wait to
Oh.
see it. Victory's been putting on such amazing cards this year. Not only Victory, but every smaller promotion is getting a little more attention, and I really love what they're doing with UFC Fight Pass. Really quick, I'm gonna pass the imaginary microphone over to you if you have any shout outs, anything I missed, anything you want to say, your social media tags where people can find you. The floor's all yours now, brother.
Big Kansas is facebook.com/Big Kansas. My Twitter handle is Big Kansas. I can't remember if it's 265 or 65. And then Snapchat is Big Kansas 265, I believe. Might be 65 as well. I
Oh,
honestly
we got Snapchat.
Yep,
Nice,
that's
man.
Snapchat.
What do you post on there?
What's that?
What do you post on your Snapchat?
Random stuff. Nothing really specific. My life is pretty boring right now. But sometimes when I hike and whatnot, I'll post snaps from that. Then, like when I was in Hawaii, I did quite a bit of snaps of different scenery and everything else.
Really
Just
quick,
more everyday stuff.
really quick, Big Kansas. I'm recording this for Snapchat. What is your Snapchat name, Big Kansas?
I think it's Big Kansas 265, but it might just be Big Kansas 65.
And we're looking forward to your fight. Thank you for coming on Pure Evil MMA. If you have any sponsors, any quick shout outs, now's the time, brother.
Cold Cock Whiskey, Power Plus Mouth Guards, Midwest Roofing. Man, I got a lot of guys that help. Nature's Paradise, Health and Fitness, Team Elevation here in Colorado. It's a huge help. Fuse Box is where I'm doing a lot of my personal training stuff. Robert Carver helps with a lot of my business side of things too. It's pretty awesome. It's Carver Consulting and Resource Management. I know I'm missing several. Juke Performance, got a mass suit. That thing's quite the tool to have, especially up here hiking mountains and whatnot.
Oh, I bet.
I know I'm missing a couple, but we'll call it a wrap for now.
Well, I hope that you and your sponsors and your family have a great Christmas and enjoy the holiday, and good luck at your fight.
Thank you.